Is raw milk safe? I'm heading out to the pasture to separate my milk cows from their calves for the night. That is how we milk here. We calf share, and so we separate for a portion of the day, or for the night basically, and then we milk in the morning. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a while. I'm going to try to keep this as concise as possible, but I know this possibly could ruffle some feathers, but it's something I've been doing my own research on for a number of years now. And I just think it's really information you need to know. If you want to raise a family milk cow, maybe you already have one, maybe you've questioned, is raw milk safe? And there's just something in you that just doesn't feel right. And so I want to address some of that and give you some information, not to scare you, but to give you a plan of action. Hey guys. Hey Miracle. Say, I am about to have a baby any minute. Hey sis. So let me just start out by saying I'm in no way giving you some sort of scientific case study video. That is not the angle I'm coming from. The angle I'm coming from is I am a mom, a wife, a daughter, and I have been keeping a family milk cow for a number of years now, and I have learned a lot. I've taken classes. I've taken classes on artificially inseminating our beef herd, and frankly, during that class, I learned some things that kind of just set my wheels to turning. Kind of concerned me about drinking raw milk, to be frank. And when you are coming from the place that I am, and you are trying to decide if something is safe for yourself, your spouse, your kids, your parents, that is the deepest level of concern. When that much trust is placed in you and you're feeding them something, you want to make sure it's safe. So just to me personally, that's the type of people that I trust, because I know if they're willing to feed something to, say, their children or their aging parents or whatever the case may be, that's their closest people. So you can feel assured that you can trust what they're saying. That's just how I feel, and that's the place I'm coming from. I did this research out of a concern for my people. All right, let's go, guys. Come on. Let's go. Let's go, Butter. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Everybody go. Ooh. Come on. Come on. Ooh. We got at least two. Gotta go get that one. Got him. Hey, January. So you can see in the corral, my cows are in pretty close proximity. They're in there having a bite to eat, and then they will go out. The cows will either graze, or like right now, they're on hay, and the calves will stay in here together. Everyone is in pretty close proximity. That means diseases can spread very easily. So when I took the class Learning to AI, one of the things that set up an alarm was about BLV, bovine leukemia virus. And I don't want to scare anyone, and I, again, am no scientist, but there have been studies done. I cannot vouch for how reliable they are. I cannot vouch if they are actually facts, but it just got me to thinking. And the studies showed in breast cancer and in lung cancer, they had found evidence of this BLV, which is a cattle virus, in human tissue. They looked for antibodies and didn't find any, and that was back in like the 1970s. And then they went back years later with much more advanced procedures, Why they decided to go back, I'm not quite sure. I didn't find an answer to that, other than it makes me think they suspected something. And so they were testing mainly breast tissue in women, and they found evidence of BLV or antibodies for BLV in cancer. And so, again, I have no idea how reliable that is. I don't know, you know, if this is a skewed study. There were multiple studies done. But I do know that scared me enough to think, you know, I'm feeding raw milk to my kids who are just in their early teens, and I could potentially be giving them something, even if there's a fraction of a chance that it could be unhealthy. It just did not sit well. One thing I meant to add in earlier is in the studies, they were testing workers that worked at processing plants, raw milk drinkers, people that were in agriculture. Somehow they determined that the BLV did pass through raw milk. And I'm no scientist. I don't have all of the facts of the study, but I read it for myself, and it was enough to make me rethink. There's Miracle. She's been here for a while. You can see we got some calves in there. There's Butter. Butter's the OG. She's been here a long time. So what does that mean? Am I against raw milk? Absolutely not. In fact, I milk these cows every single day. It set me on a mission to realize that if I was going to take on this responsibility of owning a dairy cow, and in my case, 6 or 8 or 10 dairy cows, to realize that it's not something to be taken lightly, and that their health was going to determine the health of the milk. And so that set me into my research. First off, I started testing. I knew I wanted to have cows that produced A2A2 milk. It's the most highly digestible form. You can look into that. It has to do with the beta caseins in their milk. And so I have trimmed down, and now that is all I have is cows that are A2A2. That I'll go into that on another video. It doesn't honestly have anything to do with the disease factor. That was just one of the things. It didn't matter if they were healthy. It did, but I'm saying it didn't matter to me. The first cut was, are you A2A2? So we've trimmed down to only A2A2. And then I started figuring out, I had one of the cows tested for diseases through the vet. They were kind of perplexed. They were like, why would you test for these specific diseases and you don't even suspect them? So you're gonna get some strange looks if you start testing your cows, especially if you bring in someone to do the testing for you. It's okay. Just explain to them, you're drinking the milk you want to know. So did that. That was a little expensive. Just realize if you have someone do things for you, you pay more. Then I found out that I could actually do it myself. And I have plans to film a video for you guys on how to pull blood from a cow. It's pretty easy. I'm going to show you exactly what equipment you would need and how to do it. And I promise you, if you have 2 hands, you can do it too. So just know I'm gonna follow through with you guys on this and show you how. Anyone can send it in to the place that I sent the samples. I apologize, I'm a little hoarse. We've had a lot going on here. It's cold and we've had kind of sickness, so bear with me. But I found a place that I could pull the samples, take them to the post office. They told me exactly how to package them and send them in. And so that's what I did. And so the last part of this video is I'm going to tell you what I tested for and why you should too. Obviously, BLV, bovine leukemia virus. It is a virus in cattle. It is not something you can give them antibiotics and get them over. It is not something that they get over. If your cow comes back with having levels of it in their blood, then you should probably call them. That's just my opinion. Proceed with caution. You do your own research and figure out what you would like to do. There's lots of people milking cows and selling raw milk that those cows have BLV. to some degree. You'll see people advertise them that says low BLV. I personally would not buy a cow like that. I just would not. It could ramp up. It could make you lose your cow later on. There's no guarantee it's going to stay low. I don't want any level of it. If mine came back anything other than negative, it's a no for me. Secondly, we tested for BVD. So this is a big thing. It's not necessarily because I'm afraid of that transferring to humans. There's no evidence of that I know of, but it can be quite costly in your cattle herd. What it can do is it's a diarrhea virus, basically. It has other things that it brings along with it, and you can look these things up for yourself to figure out what exactly it entails. They won't necessarily die from it, although some will, depending on if they're, got other things going on or whatever. Your cow definitely could die from it, but it's not 100% guaranteed that they will. But there is different stages of their pregnancy if they get infected with it. And you have to think a cow is almost pregnant most of the time. So there's times that they could get infected with it, and then when they recover, they'll abort their calf. There's times during a pregnancy that if they get infected with it, it can pass to the calf and they can become a what they call PI. And I had mine tested for this as well. You can do BVD and PI, which means persistently infected. And so you could have a calf born to a mom that she's recovered, but she passed it to the calf during pregnancy, and now the calf is persistently infected. Those are very costly little boogers because they can spread it. And what I read on it is the way it worded it, they're very efficient at spreading it. So they can spread it. So this can be very costly in the fertility of your herd. And in missing years of having calves, and you not even know why. You might think that if a cow aborts, wow, you're going to find a big fetus out in the field. You're going to know. That's not necessarily true. So you may be going along thinking your cow is bred, and they're not. We also tested for the disease called Johnes. It's actually spelled like with a J, Johns, I believe. It affects like their digestion, their intestines, and as it progresses, there's no effective cure for Johnes either. But as it progresses, you might see strange symptoms like a bottle jaw, like a swelling bulge under their jaw, different things. They can lose weight, just generally go downhill. So it's a very costly disease as well. Thankfully, I am so thrilled to report to you, every one of my cows was negative. And so that was my next step. Now, my next step following that, getting the results that they were negative, and those results, you will just send in one vial of blood. Again, I will do a separate video on this. And then those will come like one test at a time. So they take that one vial, and you have to put it in a certain vial because blood will coagulate if you don't. You have to put it in certain colored top tubes, and I'm going to go over all of that with y'all. But they will pull from those and test, and then each day they do a different test. I sent mine into a place called SEK Genetics. There's different places you could send yours. That's where I used. They run certain tests on certain days, so I've been getting an email pretty much every day with all the results. So that was my second step. My third step is now to close my herd. And that was been my goal the whole time. We, like I told you earlier in the video, I have training in AI, or artificial insemination. So that is where we're going to go going forward. If we get a bull, it will be tested before it's ever brought here. And you can see we had several calves out here. They're fine, but we won't be doing that again either. Going to the sale barn or wherever and just buying calves and bringing them in. Because anytime you bring something in, you risk bringing in disease, even if it looks like a healthy animal. So our herd is going to grow from here on out organically, meaning they will be born here, and we are using what's called sexed semen to AI. And so we're using heifer semen. so we can start building the next group. We have 2 of them out here right now. No, I take that back. We have 1 right now. And then Pyrenees is due in February, and I'm hoping it will be a registered Jersey heifer that she has. Miracle is due, but she's bred to a South Pole, which is a beef breed. And then I just AI'd Rosemary and Fancy, the other 2 Jerseys out here, to sexed heifer semen. And so you might have seen over there, they have heat patches on their tail heads way over there. I don't know if you can even see it, but that'll tell us if they come back in heat. If they do, it didn't work and I'll have to do it again. But that's what we're doing. That's how we're going to grow our herd. That is one of the ways I know to prevent this, to get the results and know that they're healthy and keep them that way. Let me just give you a few words of caution. If you go and buy a family milk cow and from a sale barn, you have introduced a world of diseases. We have been to many sale barns, and we have been for like I said, these calves that are on our dairy cows, for beef cows, all kinds of things. But just know it is a cesspool of disease. It just can be, based on the large numbers. Anything you bring in and introduce into your herd, you can't guarantee that your results are still the same. So I have results as of right now, what my herd is like. If I change something, it could change, because these diseases are passed among cattle for a variety of different things. Feces, milk, blood, saliva, congregating at the feed trough, just generally them living together. They all have different ways of transmission, but all the ways that they're transmitted are pretty common. If you put a bull in and one cow is infected with something and he breeds her and then he goes and breeds other cows, you're spreading some diseases around that way. So just beware. We used to bring our cows up from our beef herd and work them in a corral right back there, and then some of them would go in here with the milk cows. That won't be happening anymore. We're just not going to do that. And another word of caution, if you go buy a milk cow from somebody and they give you results, maybe ask them how long those results are good for. And if you want to do your own testing, just ensure that your cow is healthy currently, that the results you've been given are not old, or if they've gone through a sale barn for you to get them and they hand you these test results, make sure that they didn't pick something up there. Once you get to that point, I can't explore every situation with you, but when you get to that point and you know, just like my herd is all here, nobody else is in here with them, I've tested them, it's been sufficient time that they've not been around other animals, and you know that they're healthy, think about every move you make as far as bringing in other animals, borrowing bulls from neighbors, bringing in cows from different herds to work them, or whatever the case may be, buying a calf to put on your cow. Think about every move you make. And once you learn to test, it's very easy to do. If you do decide to go buy another cow, another milk cow, or whatever the case may be, always use good biosecurity measures, meaning isolate them until you figure out what you're dealing with the new animal. Isolate them, put them up in a corral or a different pen, keep them away from your herd, because it's one thing to go buy an animal and find out it has something going on. It's another thing to bring that something and infect your entire herd with it and then try to figure out what to do. Because like I was telling you guys, some of these things they will recover from, some of them they don't. They're carriers of that. And it's just, to answer the question at the beginning of the video, I am a huge raw milk fan. I would not be going to this trouble if I wasn't. It'd be so much easier just to buy pasteurized milk at the store. I have a connection to sell pasteurized milk in my market, but I believe raw milk is a superfood. But I think it's something that you should handle carefully. You need to find a farmer you trust and stick with them, because you don't want to be doing something for health benefits and find out later on you opened yourself up to something potentially harmful. I hope that this answered some questions. I don't want to stir up fear. I want to educate you and get you to the place where you're confident in what you have. And I feel such a relief and load off, because honestly, if one of them had anything, I really wasn't sure what the next step was. I would have to start calling, isolating, retesting. That it could be done, but I was just thinking what a big thing it was going to be. So I'm so thankful they're all healthy. And we start from here and we build from here. And if you can find someone to buy your milk cows from that have a closed herd and that do have current testing and you trust their practices, I would encourage you to go with them because it'll save you so much heartache. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching and God bless.